Welcome to EP Daily. Today on the show, we toy around with Star Wars and Indiana Jones in the rundown.
Plus, we sneak over the Iron Curtain for a look at Steven Spielberg's new one, Bridge of Spies.
And then we get digital with a review of the new TV series, Mr. Robot.
I understand what it's like to be different.
Also coming up, we speak with Cappy Games about their new project, Below. Hit the pitch with our review of Pro Evolution Soccer 2016 and much more today on EP Daily. Brought to you by EB Games. I'm your host, Victor Lucas, bringing you the latest in everything cool every single day. No time for love, Dr. Jones. It's time for the rundown. It looks like the world's most famous archaeologist will be back for one more adventure. Steven Spielberg says he hopes to make a fifth Indiana Jones movie with Harrison Ford in the iconic role. That's according to a recent interview with Yahoo Movies, where he jokes that Ford is currently tied with Tom Hanks for the most number of starring roles in one of his films. Spielberg adds that he'll probably do Indy 5 with Ford, which will put him back on top. The director already has 2 new projects lined up, so if he does make a new indie movie, it probably won't be for at least a few years. Harrison Ford, for those of you who are counting, turned 73 this summer.
It's not the years, honey. It's the mileage.
Disney took control of the Indiana Jones franchise when it bought Lucasfilm in 2012, and there have been back and forth rumors ever since about whether or not they would make a new sequel with Ford or hit the reboot button with a younger actor.
Trust me.
And over to the other big Lucasfilm franchise, the Force is about to be awakened in Disney Infinity 3.0. Disney has unveiled the game's new playset and figures based on the highly anticipated film. Players or their parents will be able to buy a playset that includes 2 of the heroes, Finn and Rey, along with a new adventure that recreates scenes from the film. 2 other figures based on the new Rebel pilot Poe and the villainous Kylo Ren will also be available. Since all of this will obviously spoil the film, the toys won't be released until December 18th, the same day the movie hits theaters. Star Wars and Indiana Jones, are you kidding me? It must be my birthday.
Oh, I think it's too early for your birthday,
Okay.
But I know it does kind of feel like it's a Victor Lucas day, but I think every day is a Victor Lucas day in the rundown.
It's always good news around here.
Yeah, this is just twice as good.
And let's save Indy for last, okay? Because
sure.
that's what I'm most excited about. Let's talk about Star Wars The Force Awakens in figure form.
Yeah, I'm excited about it, obviously. I think Disney Infinity 3.0 is great.
Absolutely, yeah.
There's just a lot of toys that go with it so far, and the toys keep coming, they keep piling up. And it's just, it makes me sad because we're adding to this landfill.
Oh, well, nobody's going to get rid of their action figures or their toy collection when they have these things. I think these things are going to I think they're going to stand the test of time. They're so well modeled, and they're amazing collectibles. And hats off to all the developers too, because they are making not just great games for all ages, but great Star Wars games. They're really fun to play.
I know.
All right, well, let's talk about Indiana Jones. He's not in game form yet, which I can't believe. Bring on more Uncharted and more Tomb Raiders, but we can't get an Indiana Jones video game.
Okay.
But
it's a lot of adventuring.
Harrison Ford?
Yeah, well...
it's from Spielberg now. He's saying that Harrison Ford is coming back.
Hey.
I know he's an older dude now.
Look at how excited you are.
I'm so excited.
I'm not. I feel like I should just let you down gently now. I don't know. I don't even see how this could be good.
I can see Indiana Jones being a teacher and a leader to some other adventurers. Maybe we have flashback sequences. I just want to see Harrison Ford in the fedora one last time with a movie that's led by Spielberg that isn't, too effects heavy.
You want to see Harrison Ford in anything, though. Like, we went to go see that Age of Adeline movie because you want to see Harrison Ford, or otherwise it would not have been on the show.
Probably not.
Okay.
No,
You're just in love with this guy.
I love the dude. He's my favorite actor of all time. He's incredible, and it's because of Indiana Jones,
Okay,
and we're going to see him as Han Solo again. I can't believe this. It's awesome.
How excited you are.
He's amazing.
It's so precious.
He survived a plane crash,
He
okay?
did. Well,
he
he's
deserves the chance to get on screen again as Indiana Jones.
Okay, well, guess what? We're going to see him soon in the Star Wars movie.
Can't wait.
I know.
I can't wait. All right, well, speaking of Steven Spielberg and Tom Hanks, it's time to go behind the scenes on Bridge of Spies.
We are engaged in a war with the Soviet Union. This war does not, for the moment, involve men at arms. It involves information.
There was this massive, monolithic, constantly accepted border on the planet Earth, our side versus their side, us versus them. It was omnipresent. It was everywhere. It played out on a geopolitical scale because we had then Korea, which was a battlefront in that us versus them. There was Vietnam that was coming to be the place. There was the space race that was us versus them. It was a race in which if we lost, it was going to be a bit of a tragedy because then the bad guys would win. And it was mysterious to me. I couldn't figure out how things worked over on that. They looked like us. They dressed sort of like us. So I always had this great fascination for what goes on in the head of them. As I grew up, I was always trying to educate myself more and more into the difference between the West and what was on the other side of the Iron Curtain.
They got our guy, our spy pilot. They've got their spy. We want you to negotiate the swap.
One of the things I loved about this story was everything you think, everybody you think should be wearing a black hat isn't necessarily wearing that hat, nor do they intend to. And so it sort of doesn't make it easy to, especially when the film asks you to root for someone who is a spy against the national security of our nation. How could we possibly come out the other end of this experience caring about this person in the least? But in this case, we do. And that was a window for me to want to get involved in this. I didn't know anything about the Abel-Powers exchange. I knew about Gary Powers because all of us, and certainly I grew up in the 50s, 60s, all of us had heard that the U-2 spy plane had been shot down and Gary Powers had been put on public display, public trial. But the story for me as a youngster kind of, ended with a spectacular, shoot down. And I didn't realize that something had happened subsequent to his capture, which was this very backroom exchange, spy swap, between Rudolf Abel, a Soviet spy, and Gary Powers, the American spy pilot. Two spies, in fact. When I first heard the story, it was hard to believe that for me, I listened to the story and said, this sounds like a film, this sounds like a movie. Did this really happen? And we certainly checked on the events and vetted his research, and absolutely the events that we depict in our film, the actual events are absolutely true.
Is there any outcome here where I'm not either detained or shot?
Bridge of Spies is in theaters tomorrow.
Yeah, and stick around. When we come back, Marissa and I have our review of Pro Evolution Soccer 2016.
It's one! He scores!
As a token of my goodwill, I present to you a gift. These two droids.
What did you say?
Both are hardworking and will serve you well.
Hi, I'm Neildruckmann, creative director at Naughty Dog. My Star Wars memory is when I was, I don't even know, 6, 7 years old. My older brother, who was 5.5 years older, took me to see Return of the Jedi in the movie theater. It's one of my earliest movie memories, and I remember just being blown away. I haven't even seen the previous two yet.
Oh, I can't bear to watch.
And just that journey, that arc, those characters are so classic. I think that kind of embedded something in me where I was like, I want to do stuff like this. And I guess it totally changed my life. So that's my Star Wars memory.
You will bring Captain Solo and the Wookiee to me.
Love hearing from Neildruckmann. It's always an honor to have him on the show, and he's always got some wise things to say, I find.
Some talented folks we've had so far in the Star Wars memory. But you know what, Vic? There are a lot of talented folks out there that play real sports, not like what we do with our thumbs.
True.
They play soccer. Here's our PES 2016 review.
Now it's Aguero. Chance. It's come loose. He scores!
Konami is just not going to sit down and let FIFA take all of its thunder. They are still coming on strong with Pro Evolution. We're up to the 16 now. What do you think of Pro Evolution 2016?
Yeah, well, you know what? PES has always been a game that I've always thought less of compared to FIFA because I don't know, just had this FIFA attachment for so long, especially because I started playing soccer games when FIFA was on top already. Because after FIFA took the licensing, they have everything, I just felt like I shouldn't give my attention to Pro Evolution Soccer, even though when I play it, it feels so good and it's no different this time around. In fact, it feels even better. Pro Evolution Soccer 2016 is it just feels so much better than last year's version, which is crazy to me because I remember really enjoying it.
It's one!
It's a dependable franchise for sure, and you know, at the core of its fan base, I think, is this adherence to trying to get the feel of soccer just right, you know, and that harkens back to the PlayStation 2 era, I think. Even those are super fun games to play back in the day, and what's really interesting to compare against FIFA is just how much that vitality is present in the 2016 game. You know, like it really feels alive, and you feel like you are rooted and connected to the players in a tangible way. And I think it's the animation system that they have and this new physics sort of modeling that they've got in there. Everything just feels realistic and like it's happening as it would unfold in real life, you know?
And Mandzukic! Big moment! Massive goal!
It's more exciting for me to play because I feel like it surprises me every step of the way. I can't really pinpoint the reason why, because I know I enjoy the other games. This one just feels, I guess because I never really expected to be something, and it always is. It always comes to the pitch. It's always ready to play. And I love the way it feels when you're passing balls to each player. Like the through balls feel so good. It feels so right. The only thing that we take away from it when comparing it to FIFA, of course, is the fact that it doesn't have the licensing.
It's a long forward pass.
You know, every year they add more and more of the licensed players and more cups and leagues from all over the world.
Yeah, you have UEFA in there. I mean, you have a few teams from Bundesliga. You have Serie A. I mean, a lot of these things are unlicensed, but there are some teams that are in there.
And a lot of the superstars are all in there. It doesn't have the pizzazz. It doesn't have all of the flash and the extras that FIFA does. We know that about this franchise, but when it comes to the on-field play, the second-to-second kind of connection that you have with the players, unbelievably, really precise. It was so good that I kind of wanted that to tip over into the basketball a little more. There's something that Konami is doing, some secret sauce that Konami is doing with the control of the players, which just blows my mind. It's so fun to play this game. PES is really special. What are you going to give it?
Gets a 9 from me.
I'm going to give it an 8.5. Very cool game. And next week, because there are so many great head-to-head sort of activities out there in video games this year, we're doing an all-versus episode, so you want to watch that.
Oh, man, everyone's going to duke it out. I like it. I wonder if the hosts are going to duke it out, too. Could happen.
I don't think so.
Oh, okay, maybe not. Don't go anywhere, because after the break, we've got a review of Mr. Robot.
I'm very different, too.
After classics like Fallout and Borderlands, it was pretty hard to stand out with one of these desert-based, post-apocalyptic action shooter-type games. It attempted to do that with Rage, which was published by Bethesda. And although this isn't an instant classic or one that we will never forget, it has become a bit of a buried treasure. I really enjoyed my experience with this title, mostly because the mechanics were so solid. This certainly didn't become the huge franchise smash success that Doom or Quake have become for id, but I thought the fundamentals of this game were sound. It was always fun to go around and blast the mutants and the other bad guys and get into the buggies and customize them and upgrade them, get into races, get into some really good combat situations. I thought the environments actually were really cool. There was some great verticality and all of that stuff. And some of the characters were sweet. Now, you don't really get into long, drawn-out exposition or big conversations or fulfilling RPG-style narrative like you would get out of Borderlands or Fallout, but this game was built more for action gamers out there. So if you found yourself getting a bit more of a twitchy trigger finger playing Fallout or Borderlands, this might just be your cup of tea. Rage, I really enjoyed, and I definitely think it's worth digging up. I think it's a buried treasure.
Okay, all right, that was a pretty good buried treasure. I think it's one of those games you can play after watching Mad Max, right? Or playing Mad Max video game.
Right, I guess it's, it's in that
oeuvre. A double feature weekend.
A double feature for sure. All right, well, let's talk about a TV show that we've been watching for a while. It's called Mr. Robot.
I understand what it's like to be different. I'm very different, too.
Scott Jones often talks about wanting to eat gumballs after watching this show because of the actors' eyeballs, which is hilarious. We were talking about Mr. Robot. Now, the show, it's pretty dark. It goes to pretty dark places. It's a drama without any blood. There is a lot of sex, though. There's sex, there's intrigue, there's scandal. And you know what? It's drama that I actually feel strangely connected to. I think we all do, because we all are connected to our phones every day. We're all at the risk of being hacked.
Get out of here right now, or I'll call the
police. And you want them to find out about the 100 terabytes of child pornography you served to your 400,000 users?
The main character here does just that. He's a hacker. He gets caught up in some nefarious behavior.
Yeah.
He wants to take down a company that he likes to call Evil Corp, which he actually ends up having to work for. There's a lot of different connections being made here.
He's got to kind of choose his sides.
Yeah.
He's a hacker with unbelievable skill, and he can circumnavigate any kind of security protocol you can imagine. Yeah. He's played by Rami Malek, and he does have the eyeballs in question here, the gumball eyeballs. They're so unbelievably expressive and unique, and this is an actor that has stood out in every character role I've seen him.
We have side quests and side missions in this TV show as well, which is him taking down different bad people that he finds have connections to people that he knows and he loves, that he takes down individually and has them on a little disc, like a CD, like a little soundtrack that he puts together of this person's life that he's destroyed, that he's taken down. Yeah, very Dexter-like. There's so many amazing elements of the show that has me completely hooked.
And the other thing that they borrow liberally from is the David Fincher aesthetic with the off-center camera angles.
Like you're spying on someone.
It's a beautiful show. What are you going to give Mr. Robot?
It's fantastic. It's getting a 9.
9 for me, too. Man, that is an incredible show. 2015 has been amazing for TV.
It really has. Also, it's been amazing for travel because we were traveling while we shot that review. And also, I traveled to go meet the boys at Cappy in Toronto. Here's a look at Below. To talk to the guys at Cappy. They got a new one for us called Below. I actually would really love for you to take me into this game. Where are we? What are we doing? Who are we?
Sure. Below at its core is a game about exploration, survival, and discovery. So, I mean, in terms of backstory, all you are is a little character coming to the island to explore and see what's there. In terms of what you do, it's left open for you to discover things that you want to set out and accomplish. But it is, you know, a hard game, a challenging game. Once you get down to the depths below the island where you're exploring, there is a lot of combat involved, and the combat is difficult and challenging. It is also a game where if you die, your character remains dead forever. But in a given life, you might have accomplished something in the world, maybe changed something, unlocked a new area, discovered new enemies, and made permanent change in the world. So you can accomplish change as that one life that'll carry over going forward forever.
This is a roguelike.
It definitely draws on some roguelike inspirations. Yes, there are.
Okay, and also dungeon crawling.
Yes.
All right, you guys are fans of this stuff at Cappy?
Yeah, definitely.
All right, so who is the character that we're meeting here? Was there a backstory to the character?
The character isn't the same character every time. So every time you die, it is actually a new character coming to the island to explore. And if you want, you can set out and go explore and perhaps find the body of one of your previous lives. So if you had maybe found a cool new weapon that you liked and like, oh, I had that bow and arrow, I really want to go find that and use that again. If you remember where you died, you potentially can go find that corpse, pick up his old gear, and continue on that way. But it is as a new life, a new character every time.
What is the incentive for gamers to come back for more here? What are you giving them? Do we have an upgraded character when we come back in, even though we're choosing someone new?
No, there is no stats that you upgrade over time. Every time you start, it's a blank slate, brand new character. But like I said, you might find new gear and unlock things in the world. And so really it's about the exploration and discovery in the world, trying to find new places, explore, learn about the history of the island. And that's the stuff that you build on over the multiple lives to discover.
Oh man, I love the guys from Cappy. And you know what? I also love Toronto and the Blue Jays.
And the Blue Jays, you got to get the Blue Jays in there. How about their incredible game? It looks awesome. All right, stick around when we come back. We've got more of Scott's spooky stories. If you want more EP, go to our website, epn.tv, for bonus content and full episodes. We're also on Facebook and Twitter.
Hi. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to scare you.
I'm assuming you're Aaron.
Oh, hello there. It's Scott Scary Movie time again. Today, the scary movie that you should watch, and I challenge you to watch, Halloween 2015, is a movie called Creep. This is from our old friend Mark Duplass. He's gone on to do lots of things that I've enjoyed, and most recently, The League, which is on FX. In this movie, he plays a guy who lives in the woods, and he's hired someone to be his personal filmmaker. He wants some sort of document that he can show to his unborn child, but of course, none of what he tells the filmmaker at the start of the film turns out to be true. Maybe some of it's true. I don't want to spoil anything for you. I love the remote woodland cabin where all of this takes place. I don't think there's a lot of traditional stuff that we're used to seeing in horror movies in this movie, but I think what's there has lots of ingenuity, lots of inventiveness, and there's lots to see and think about. This is a dark movie. It doesn't have a lot of the things that you look for in a horror movie, and that's really kind of what I like about it. Creep is definitely on my challenge list for this year's Halloween. Creep 2015. I dare you to watch it.
Well, thank you there, Mr. Jones. I appreciate you doing all the scary movies and not me, so thanks for that as well.
Esoteric choices there, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Certainly, certainly. Now we've got our Twitter question of the day. This one comes from Christian Plort. He's at KXNPunk. He says, do you think with all the new tech, they should do a new adventure game like Riven? Would be cool. Options? Badass TV show? Okay, interesting. I played Riven. Oh, you're snoring.
Oh, sorry. Were we talking about Riven or Mist? Yeah, they were not my cup of tea, I have to be honest.
I didn't mind them. They were interesting, but yes, they do kind of make you nod off a bit.
Yeah.
I don't know, I kind of like the whole live action thing.
It's coming back.
Yeah.
I think there's an appreciation on the actor's side and on the development side of how to blend all of this stuff.
Sure,
so maybe that's a good idea, but I haven't really played one that I like so much.
So that's a no from Victor Lucas.
They're great sleep aids. Hey, listen, if you've got a question for us, you want to get caught up on EP, go to our website, epn.tv.
We've got more coming for the next episode of EP Daily, including a behind-the-scenes look at Goosebumps.
Thanks for watching.
Bye.
EP would like to thank its sponsors, Nintendo, Xbox. EP's mobile coverage is brought to you by Gameloft, makers of Asphalt 8 Airborne, which you can play on your Android or iOS device for free right now.
Let's face it, it's not actually a biopic. Yes, I'm playing a character named R.L. Stine who wrote all these books, but none of what happens in the movie is real. None of what happens in the movie actually happened, so I didn't feel confined to that reality. I didn't have to, mimic him. I wanted it to be the most compelling, enigmatic character that fit this particular story.